up at the moon tonight. It looks peaceful, calm, exactly the way it has looked for billions of years. But in 1958, two of the most powerful governments in human history made a secret decision. They were going to blow it up, not destroy it completely, but detonate a nuclear weapon on its surface, visible from Earth, visible to every human being alive. The United States had a secret plan. The Soviet Union had the exact same plan. Same year, same target, same goal. Neither one knew the other was doing it. This is the story nobody told you. October 4th, 1957. The day that changed everything. The Soviet Union launched Sputnik, a small metal ball, the size of a basketball. It changed everything. Because Sputnik was the first artificial satellite ever launched into space, and it did not belong to America. It belonged to their biggest enemy. In Washington, panic spread immediately. If the Soviets could put a satellite in orbit, they could put a nuclear warhead over any American city. People were genuinely terrified. Schools started running nuclear attack drills. Families sat around their radios listening for news. The fear was real. The humiliation was total. How did the most powerful country in the world just get beaten into space by the Soviet Union? Families built underground shelters in their gardens. America was terrified, humiliated, and desperate. They needed to respond, fast, dramatically, in a way the entire world would see. Inside, the U.S. Air Force senior officials were already planning something that would tell the entire world that America is still the most powerful nation on Earth. Do not test us. They were going to send a nuclear bomb to the moon, detonate it on the surface, and let the entire world watch. The project was given a very boring name, a study of lunar research flights. Its classified code name was Project A119. 10 scientists, 1 mission. Figure out if America could detonate a nuclear weapon on the moon and make sure the entire world could see it. The project leader was a physicist named Leonard Riefel, experienced, respected, and deeply uncomfortable with what he was being asked to do. Because aliens were safer than the truth. The U-2 spy plane flew at heights nobody thought were possible in the 1950s. Commercial pilots saw it in the sky. A fast silver object, moving strangely, flying impossibly high. They reported it as a UFO. The government could not say that is our secret spy plane. So they said nothing, and people filled that silence with their own theories. Aliens, crashed spacecraft, extraterrestrial bodies kept in freezers. The CIA let the alien stories spread because aliens were safer than the truth. Total secrecy. No records, no names, no maps. Workers were brought in on unmarked planes. They signed documents promising never to speak about their work. Not to their wife, not to their children, not to anyone. Ever. 10 scientists, each one handpicked, each one sworn to silence. The explosion would be visible from Earth with the naked eye. Every person on the planet would look up and see a flash of light on the moon. And every person would understand exactly what that flash meant. America just fired a nuclear weapon into space. The team needed one specific calculation. How far would the nuclear dust cloud expand after the explosion? If it did not expand wide enough, nobody on Earth would see it. And the entire point of the mission would be lost. For that calculation, they brought in a 24-year-old doctoral student. His name was Carl Sagan. Carl Sagan spent his life protecting the universe. But at age 24, the U.S. military hired him to destroy part of it. He would later become the most famous astronomer in the world. His television series Cosmos was watched by 500 million people. But before all of that, the U.S. Air Force hired him to calculate the explosion radius of a nuclear bomb on the moon. He did the calculations, submitted his report, and never spoke about it publicly for over 35 years. The only reason we know Project A119 ever existed is because Carl Sagan accidentally revealed classified information in a job application in 1959. One mistake by a 24-year-old trying to get a university scholarship. That is the only reason you are hearing this story today. The two documents he accidentally revealed were titled Lunar Nuclear Weapons Detonations and Radiological Contamination of the Moon. The US government had official documents about contaminating the moon with radiation. While all of this was happening in America, something equally insane was happening on the other side of the world. Neither one knew about the other. While America was secretly planning to nuke the moon, the Soviet Union was planning the exact same thing. Two nuclear superpowers, one moon, zero communication. On January 28, 1958, two of the Soviet Union's top scientists outlined a series of moon missions, codenamed Project E. The Soviets wanted proof that their spacecraft had reached the moon. A small probe landing on the surface would be invisible from Earth. Nobody would believe it happened. But a nuclear explosion, every astronomer on the planet would see it. Nobody could deny it. The Soviet Project E had 4 stages. E1 reach the moon, E2 orbit the moon, E3 photograph its far side, E4 detonate a nuclear bomb on the lunar surface. Soviet rocket engineer Boris Chertok later confirmed it publicly. In 1958, there was a plan to send an atomic bomb to the moon so that astronomers across the world could photograph its explosion on film. Both programs ran simultaneously in 1958. The US started in January. The Soviets started in January, both targeting the same moon, both planning the same explosion, neither one aware the other had the exact same idea. The parallel insanity of this moment is almost impossible to comprehend. So why did they stop? The rockets in 1958 were not reliable enough. If the nuclear warhead missed the moon, it could fall back to Earth and detonate on American or Soviet soil. They didn't stop because it was wrong. They stopped because the technology wasn't ready. The rocket failure rate in 1958 was dangerously high, too unreliable for a nuclear payload. If the warhead fell back, it would not land in the ocean. It would land on a city. Leonard Riefel was also worried about permanent lunar contamination. He wrote that if such contamination occurred, it would represent an unparalleled scientific disaster. The Soviets stopped for identical reasons. Their rockets were also unreliable, and Soviet scientists calculated the nuclear flash would last only 0.3 seconds. Too fast to photograph. The whole point was for the world to see it. If nobody could capture it on film, what was the point? Both programs were quietly canceled, all documents destroyed, all scientists sworn to silence. And the world never knew. All documents destroyed. January 1959. Both programs canceled. Same month, same reason. The documents were destroyed in 1987, nearly 30 years after the program ended. The 1967 Outer Space Treaty, signed by both the US and Soviet Union, specifically banned nuclear weapons in space and on the moon. That treaty did not come from nowhere. Governments don't ban things they never planned. They ban things they were already doing. 107 countries eventually signed the treaty, all because two governments needed to stop themselves from doing something they had already seriously planned. Not hypothetically planned, officially planned, with budgets, with scientists, with blueprints. Everything after that is still in the dark. In 1969, Neil Armstrong walked on the moon. The world celebrated. America won the space race. But 11 years before that moment, the plan was not to put a man on the moon. The plan was to put a nuclear explosion on it. And if the rockets had been just a little more reliable, if one engineer had solved just one more technical problem, you would not know the moon as a symbol of human achievement. You would know it as the place where humanity proved that in the right moment of fear and desperation, there is no idea too insane for a government to consider. The scientists who designed these programs were not evil people. They were intelligent people working inside a system of fear who convinced themselves that blowing up the moon was a reasonable response to losing a space race. And that is the most frightening part of this entire story. Not the bomb, not the moon, but how easy it was for smart people to say yes. If they hid this, what else are they hiding? Subscribe to Pasterex. Every week, one secret the world forgot to question.